several 123 decoders in my locomotives, and in one spot on my layout, sometimes they kick out loose, and I have to reset it for the locomotive to continue on. Or they just slow down and then speed up. And it's all the same spot. And the thing is, I've got 12 gauge bus wire. My feet are all about 4 to 5 feet apart. And that particular spot is about 8 feet away from my power. And I have areas of my layout that are much further away, and I have no problem there. There's one spot, and it's just the decoder kicks out, and I have to reset it.
So yeah, what you're saying is you have a particular sticky part of the layout where the decoder misbehaves, I believe what you're saying.
Yes, and I've been mucking around it for 3 years. Tried to put more feeder wires in, heavier wire, and it's still the same area. It's about 3 feet. The decoder just kicks out.
Off the top of my head, that's something that I've not seen a whole lot of. I think, where's Dave? Dave, yeah. I think we need to discuss that with Dave and find out if he's seen a lot of that. Off the top of my head, I don't recall that a lot of people had issues like that, other than Digitrax or other, but we'd like to get to the bottom of that. So we need to talk.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at the
show. Yeah, talk and we can take some notes down and maybe come up with some diagnostic measures to sort of find out what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, we've not really had a lot of sensitivity issues like that, but we may be the case.
Thanks.
What you got?
This is probably kind of a silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. We use a lot of your throttles at a club, so we've got like 14 throttles, but because of the amount of use they get, we're always removing the batteries because we use rechargeable nickel metal hydrides. I'd like to be able to buy, as a standard item, battery cover doors, because those little tabs that hold the battery covers on the DT400s and the RC4s are always breaking off, and we've got Velcro on them, tape on it. It's a mess.
Yeah, actually, we have a dealer that offers the lid covers as a repair item.
Just the cover?
Yes, just the cover.
Okay.
So, yeah, get with Dave there and he'll give you the URL. You can purchase just the covers.
Okay, great. Thanks.
No, it's frustrating. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because every one of our throttles goes 3 or 4 of them per year.
Yeah. That's a lot. Okay, any other questions? Okay.
I'm having a beep problem. I am seeing a doctor for it. But, I'll turn the system on, I'll get 2 beeps continuously, and there'll be other times where I'll turn the system on and I'll get 23 beeps. And I called tech support and he'd never heard of having 23 beeps, and it's not in the instruction manual.
23 beeps. What do you have as a system?
I have a DCS 100, and then I have 4 boosters, DB 150s, and I just got upgraded to duplex.
Okay, my recollection is when it beeps a whole bunch, I recall that one of them was coming up and checking for other command stations that are active.
Yeah.
I think probably one of your DB150s is coming up to the command station first, and the DCS 100, my recollection is it starts pitching a fit. That's probably what it is. That,
I've got, like you're talking about the grounds, I've got the grounds going from ground to rail 1, and I've got everything.
I think we usually get, probably if you have a laptop, computer hooked up, we're interested to see the messages go up local when they wake up, because it's a sequencing issue. My recollection off the top of my head, I think there's 20 beeps or so, when it decides that for some reason it wakes up, but it already finds a command station which it doesn't expect to find that. It's a synchronization issue, I think, off the top of my head.
We had that trouble in our club, and you need to set the DB150 so that it always comes up as a booster.
Yes.
There is a command that you can give it.
Yeah, there's an option switch, but there's also a hard link. I think it's config A to ground.
Yeah.
On the front, and you make sure that's...
What is it?
Config A, the CFG A to ground is critical. Dave can probably chase that down. But my recollection on the DCS 100 is that when it really pitches a big like that, it's pretty much, it says I'm supposed to be at the command station, but there's an existing ground station on layout, and I'm not happy about it. That's my recollection. Okay.
Would it make sense to disconnect all the DB150s, see if the problem persists? If it doesn't persist, connect the first one back in.
I did that.
You
yeah.
did that. And was there one particular one that caused it to happen?
It seems to be the one that's furthest away is doing it. But
I
think
guess
that
that would
might-
be the one to look for the
Yeah.
configuration on.
Yeah, be sure that that's it, because it's in two places.
You power them on at the same time?
I actually go around the layout, start one at a time to do it.
One at a time?
Yeah, yeah.
Turn on the DCS 100 first if you
No,
like.
I do, right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the other units, the config A is a hardware input, and that should give the DB150 a frontal autonomy and not allow it to ever be a command station. That should be a hardware block. It should be.
A broken wire.
Yeah, sometimes you put a
Yeah.
wire and you screw it down and you pinch the insulation and you haven't really got a solid ground. I mean, I've seen it all. I mean, the stuff you can't make up. You think you've done it, it's like, oops, I didn't do it. You know, I got flux on the wire and I soldered it and I didn't really do it. You'd be surprised how many things could go wrong and you think you've got it right. It's like it ain't right.
We've seen it where they put a jumper between config A and ground and they didn't strip the wire.
Oh, yeah.
What he said.
I did twisted it.
Okay, next. Okay.
Two questions. One is, could you tell us about the need for capacitors in conjunction with the installation of N-scale sound decoders?
You can operate, if you've got a good quality mechanism that runs real well and clean rail, you can run without it. There's some minimum amount of capacitance inside the decoders. Our decoders have pretty good power management. They run fairly well, but when you start getting, 50, 100 millisecond power dropouts, we're not talking just little glitches, we're talking about fairly substantial loss of power while it's running and running sound and motor. You need the capacitance. Now, the 330 mic capacitor, we send out with almost everything. That unit will typically give you about a quarter of a second holdover on the sound. So the sound will keep running even if the motor stops. The sound will keep running about a quarter of a second. So if you've got room for, say, about 100 microfarad capacitor, you would get a tenth of a second protection against interruptions of power, which might be like a power management thing, flicking the line and causing power outage. So the quality of your pickups and the power handling will determine how successful it is. Now, when it comes to an N-scale locomotive, you're really pretty tight with room, obviously. To try and get a speaker in there, the baffle arrangement, it's a tough thing to do. You can drill another hole somewhere in the casting and plug in a capacitor. The one I think works pretty well, other than our standard capacitor, there are capacitors, quite a few families of capacitors, electrolytics in the range of about 100 to 220 microfarad at 16 volts. Okay, 16 volts, and they're in a 5.2 by about 11 millimeter case, which is quite manageable. One we have, I think, it's an 8 mil by 12, so it's fairly large. It's really an HO capacitor. So the answer is, if you have an alternative capacitor from your local regular hobby store, you can try that. And if you're truly running N-scale at 12 to 14 volts, then a 16 volt electrolytic is fine. And generally have more capacitance for the same voltage in the smaller case.
The other question was about programmability with Zephyr. Would Zephyr program your sound decoder?
Yes, Zephyr
main
can
functions like speed and motor functions.
All the standard CVs from CV1 through 120, standard non-sound decoder CVs, I believe we have no problem with Zephyr. That'd be true, Dave? Yeah, we've not hit our decoders have, I really think, pretty excellent power management. We can run them on pretty much anything. When you go to CVs 120 and above, that's what we call sound CVs.
Okay.
And a lot of our sound CVs up there can still be configured by the Zephyr or whatever. For example, all the volumes, the auxiliary volumes for bells, whistles, and all that sort of stuff, and a lot of other configurability, horn selections, all sorts of delays and configurations are still regular CVs. The only time you'd have to go, for example, to a PR3 is if you want to reload sound projects.
Okay.
So the Zephyr will happily program all the CVs, include all the sound CVs that are sound CVs, but it won't download WAV files, it won't download SDF and control files.
It doesn't need a programming booster or something like that?
No, it absolutely doesn't need a programming booster. we can actually run, our DCS 100 has a very tender programming track. It's designed to be sure you don't blow stuff up, okay? And we can actually run on that, not the motor, but we can run the sound on that while it's in the program mode. That we can actually run those, making sound. I test it all the time. The decoders don't ground out, they actually run on the programming track, believe it or not. So I know that's our test for power management quality.
Thank you.
So no problem with CVs.
Just one added question to the capacitor. That goes between the black and the red wire?
No, the capacitors for the sound decoders,
Yeah.
the extra hold-up capacity energy storage, goes on 2 extra wires that are on the decoder, which is the black and the blue.
Black and blue.
Black and blue. Don't confuse those with the track feeds, which are black and red. Okay, any other questions?
Is there, because we probably all mostly use rechargeable batteries, is there any way that the throttle can be recharged, the battery can be recharged without having to take it out and put it in a charger?
Unfortunately, the DT400 was designed back in late 19, like, what was it, 1999 or whatever?
Yeah, we released it in 2001.
Yeah, 2000. So unfortunately, that's not something we set up very efficiently at that time. But one thing you can do is you can plug it in to a loconeer that's sleeping. On the command station, put it to sleep. The throttle will go to a mode where it draws very, very little current. So it won't bring the batteries down and you won't have to take it out. So if you want to not have to take the battery covers off a lot, plug them in and leave them sit on the net and put the command station to sleep.
Okay. If you have your command station and a couple of boosters, can you control all of them with a separate switch rather than turning each one off individually? Or should you do that?
The question is, can you have multiple command stations and power supplies, whatever, and have one AC power switch? And the answer is pretty much yes. That's a good way to do it. It's a little easier. You won't get the synchronization possible problems. Turn on different things around the layout. And you have a number of options, say, off the top of my head for the DCS 100, option switch 33 and 34 allow you to set up how the power restores to the track and the system once the AC power comes back on, or the input power comes back on. So you have a lot of configurability. I personally like to just turn everything off in one place and turn it back on, everything wakes up. It takes about half a second for the reset to finish, and then the train starts running. But that's a personal choice. You can have it where you have to turn the track power on explicitly after the power comes down. It's really a style thing, but I think we covered most of the ability to configure it where you want it. Okay. Is that it, or questions?